Hey, Futurist Jim Carroll from the virtual broadcast studio. I've been working on this series, Ask.A.Futurist, where people are submitting their questions about what comes next and what we might see in our post-COVID reality. And it's a good time to be doing this because we know we're headed into a new world. The vaccines are rolling out. There's signs of hope. But look, the next year is going to be really strange because I think there's going to be a massive clash between the expectations that people have for where we're going to end up and where we're actually going to be. And that's why I continue to work down here in the virtual broadcast studio. Oops, the camera didn't work on that one. To put in perspective the reality of what is occurring. The question that came in this week is what's going to happen with consumer behavior? What's going on? What are we going to see as, we go back to the world of retail. The world of retail has been absolutely battered and bruised by everything going on. So what's going to happen with consumer behavior? A lot of folks are wondering about that. And this is the type of question that I'm seeing from my clients. That's why I'm so focused right now on the concept of post-pandemic leadership. What are we going to see? What is going to happen? What do we need to do as leaders to align to a new reality that involves uncertainty and volatility and ambiguity and contradictions and everything else? So I put some time in thinking about what is happening with consumers in this post-COVID world. And I've actually been doing a number of talks in the retail sector around this trend. It's important to think about what is occurring here. I dug out some absolutely fascinating research from KPMG, which really puts into perspective what is going on. Number one, consumers are worried about their reality. In a survey, 43% of consumers in 12 global markets, 75,000 people surveyed, 43% are worried about their financial security through 2021 and beyond. Obviously, there are vast sections of the economy that are hurting. There are vast numbers of people who are in difficult financial circumstances. And this is going to have an absolutely overwhelming impact on everything that occurs with consumer behavior, retail, and every other type of consumer activity going forward. You can't have this type of situation unfold and not have a lot of uncertainty with spending. I think what this means is that people are going to be cautious. They're going to be careful. They're going to very carefully analyze their spending patterns. Another very interesting statistic is that for a vast number of people, digital will continue to be the main method by which they will spend the money they have. 45% of those in this survey indicated that digital would still be their main shopping channel. E-commerce was the story of 2020 through the pandemic, and it will continue to be for quite some time. If you are a retailer, if you're dealing with consumer products, if you are dealing with end consumers, you've got to realize that everything you've done, you're still going to be there for quite some time to come, according to consumers. What they're going to do is they're going to continue to shop online. They're going to continue to browse online. It is going to continue to be the forefront of much of what they do. Continuing on, they're going to be very careful with their spend. They're financially insecure. They know they're going to be spending in the digital world. They're seeking value. 63% indicated that value would be the key driver in the decisions that they make, whether they are online or whether they're actually out there in a store. They're going to very carefully compare. They're going to very carefully analyze. They're going to be very cautious with their spend. So you need to be prepared for them with a message which is focused on value. And this is similar to what we've seen in previous economic downturns. There's actually going to be a spending decline. Obviously, if they are concerned about their spending, if they're being cautious with their dollar, we are going to see a decline in spending over the next 6 to 12 months. 1 out of 5 people indicated they would have less discretionary income for their shopping needs. And so what we are going to see is not really a rush back to massive growth patterns in the sectors that have been hurting. Yes, we know some sectors, everything from gym equipment to home renovations, you can't buy lumber for the life of you. We've seen massive price inflation in some sectors, but in other sectors, caution is going to be the watchword. Continuing on, a lot of them are going to, focus on making sure they put money and keep money in their wallet. They're going to prioritize saving over spending. So I don't think that we can presume that there will be this massive rush back to spending. These are real numbers from 75,000 individuals in 15 countries, which really indicates that the road back is going to be a bit of a challenge. There's other interesting statistics I dug out during my research. Clearly, people have discovered new local through the pandemic. We're all at home, we're all stuck in our basement, we're all stuck in our houses, and we've all had to source product everywhere we could. 35% of consumers in another survey have indicated that they have tried out new local retailers. And this has, very significant impact for small business, for entrepreneurs, for those who are preaching a sustainability message. How do you capture them? How do you maintain the momentum with this? You can capitalize on the fact that you've developed a lot of new relationships that you can focus on as you go forward. So if you're a local retailer, maximize this opportunity. Make sure you are doing everything you can with social media challenges, mapping technologies, everything to make sure you can keep, retain, and attract this new local shopper. Percentage of consumers who are buying from different brands, the concept of brand loyalty has gone out the window. Those who indicate they are less inclined to shop for the brands they love, 45%. People who are buying from more brands than they did pre-COVID, 36%. The whole idea of brand loyalty seems to have gone out the window with COVID, and we can expect this is a trend that's going to continue as we go forward into a new future. 35% of people in another survey indicated they were trying and willing to try a new channel during the pandemic. Clearly, what we have gone through with consumer behavior in the world of retail in the last year has been pretty profound. And these are the types of trends that you need to be thinking about as we go forward into this new future. But there's a lot more that is going on. If you think about what is happening, this consumer now has a much higher expectation in terms of the bar of expectations. I would explain to my global retail clients before the pandemic that, look, we have this rising bar of expectations happening where people are expecting that you should be able to deliver the same quality of service that Amazon does. They now judge you against the best retailers, the best online companies in the world. And if you aren't meeting that higher bar of expectations, you're not really in the game. So you might have jury-rigged some solutions through the last year in order to get by. The key thing is you got to make sure that you keep investing, you keep innovating, you keep doing what is necessary to deal with the reality of this new consumer. I think we're going to see an extremely cautious and careful return. If you follow the trends, if you understand what people are saying, if you understand what the science is saying, it's not like we're all going to be rushing back. In 6 months from now, we're all back into a world of normal. It's not going to be like that. People have gone through this massive psychological behavioral change. Just before I went to air here, I read a fascinating article in which they were interviewing a psychologist about what we might expect as we begin to go back to society. And he's talking about a very unique situation in which we're going to be extremely cautious in terms of what we do. And I think with this comes a new and challenging customer segmentation. We know that society has been split in terms of the mask issue, and we know that the world of retail, and we know consumers have been split down the middle in terms of their approach to this. This is going to continue. As we go back, we are going to see more volatility, more upheaval, more challenges, more political rhetoric. What this means is for any retailer, large or small, you're going to have tremendous challenges. They're not going to disappear, and you're going to be selling in the context of this grand issue. But what you're really dealing with is the fact that safety is everything. If you look at the studies, you look at the consumer reports which are coming out, we're wary, we're scared, we're nervous. Those of us who subscribe and believe the science is a real thing, we're going to be really cautious as we go back. And so your brand has to present a continual perspective of safety, security in everything you do. You cannot afford to scrimp and save in terms of what you're doing here. The context as they eventually perhaps come into your stores, or even as they deal with you in new retail digital channels, they have no attention span left. You think about what has happened in this omni-channel universe. We've all been shopping online. We're all on our mobile devices. We're all on our laptops. We've been immersed in this digital experience. And what has occurred here is the acceleration of a trend which was already evident and in place before the pandemic. And the reality is that what is happening is people have no attention span left. They flip from bits of information to bits of information, and they make impulse decisions. They purchase things very quickly. You've got to appeal to their multitasking mindset because they are fundamentally different. We're wired differently now post-COVID. We are wired extremely differently in terms of how we seek information and who we are influenced by and the types of information that we see online that might influence our purchasing decisions. Another aspect which is really interesting is, look, supply chains are broken. If you caught one of my previous Ask.A.Futurist series, I was talking about the fact that globalization is broken, supply chains are broken. There are certain product lines that you cannot buy what is necessary to deal with any sort of particular type of product where the supply chain is stressed. This is going to continue. This is not something that goes away through 2021. It's going to last throughout 2022. Consumers are going to be very unforgiving of the fact that you have supply chain issues. You will offer them excuses that you can't source the product. They're not going to have any patience for that. And given the fact that they have very little loyalty left, they are going to be prepared to move on to a new retailer, a new brand at the drop of a hat. Because they're going to have absolute complete intolerance for scarceness of product. With broken supply chains comes a lot of price inflation. This is happening within the home renovations industry. It's happened with the exercise gym equipment industry. Consumers are becoming extremely intolerant of the issues, the excuses, the price inflation that is coming by. And again, this all plays into loyalty. So if you do anything, you have to double down on your loyalty initiatives through the year. Last but not least, time minimization. As we go back, we're going to be standing in lines. We're going to be dealing with complex safety issues. We're going to be dealing with very complex situations in terms of what might come about in the world of retail. And I think what's going to happen with the consumer is there's some talk that smart brands, smart chains, smart stores are going to set up concierge type of shopping systems where you can book an appointment to go into the store to get your shopping done, just as we're booking appointments to get our vaccine. If you can provide a scheduling system and build a new relationship with your consumer based on some sort of scheduling technology, you might have the golden ticket for success in this new and complex world. That's the type of thing that I'm covering down here in the virtual broadcast studio, particularly when the cameras don't work. I've got this great, big, glorious studio space where I'm focusing on the trends which define our future. And you can send in your own question. Visit ask.jimcarroll.com. Fire in a question. I come down here to the broadcast studio once or twice a week and take on the question, do a bunch of research, and put it out there to help you think about what comes next and what you need to do about it. I'm going to close with a video to help you think about your future. That's it for now. Futurist Jim Carroll.